Hi everyone. So in this session we are going to set up AWS so that we can install Kafka over there and then we can create a project over there actually. Why AWS? AWS is a very commonly used cloud service provider, and using AWS we can have one virtual machine at very low cost, and then we can install everything what we need over there actually. So let me show you a slide deck. I hope you can see this. There's nothing which I have mentioned here. This is just set up AWS. What we are going to do here is that there are a couple of steps which we are going to follow now. One is that the first is definitely register AWS account. Once we are able to do that, then we have to take one EC2 virtual machine with Linux. Okay, Linux operating system we want. Once we have the EC2 VM, then what we need? Then we have to ensure Docker is installed. We probably will take Linux OS which comes with Docker install. Okay. Once we have these three steps, then what we're gonna do that we need Putty. So we have to connect to this VM, and since we are using Windows machine here for our setup, we have to use Putty. But if we had Mac OS or a Linux server, then we would have used terminal from Mac. Okay. So once we have Putty, and then we just have to verify if Docker is installed. Okay. So this is all we're gonna do in this first session. Gonna have AWS account, EC2 VM with Linux OS installed. We have to ensure Docker is there. Putty for connecting to the VM, and then verification Docker is there actually. Okay, so let's start with the first step, which is registering AWS account. Okay, so I'm going to set up a very new account actually. So create a new AWS account like this. For this demo purpose, I have created one Gmail account just for this purpose, which is this. Okay, I'll just give a name, Amit Kafka. Verify email address. So I need to log into my newly created Gmail account. Okay, so AWS has sent one email for verification. This is just a verification code. So verification is done. I need to put a root user password over here. Let me put an ID, password. I hope I remember this. That was step number 1. Step number 2 is where I need to put my contact information. I'll mask these all details when I publish this video. I live in India. That's my address. Okay, if you can see here, like when I'm setting up this AWS account, On the left hand side, it says that I'll be getting 12 months free. So it is like that. First 12 months I get free access on few selected services actually. Not all the services, but a lot of services I get free access so that I can play with, for my demo purpose or POC kind of work. Okay, this is here I have to put my credit card information. Okay. It's asking a PAN number also, which I have to mention. Now it's trying to redirect to the bank page so that I can do the confirmation. Let me put the OTP which I have received. Okay, asking me to confirm my identity, which is step number 4. I'll be getting a text message. Oops. Need to put these security check characters. Send SMS, fine. Should be expecting SMS. Okay, so got one. Let me just enter it. Continue to step 5. Okay, it's asking me which support plan I need to choose. So depending upon different monthly charges, I can opt for different group support plan. I am fine with the basic one, which is free. Complete sign up. Okay, go to AWS management console. This is fine. Okay, so looks like the setup is done. I now need to log in. Okay, so at this place you will see root user and IAM user. We have not created any IAM user now. So we are gonna enter using the root email ID actually, which root user which we have just now created. In actual practice, you will rarely use the root user actually, just for one time. It's very risky to use this in case of any password loss. It can come very costly to you actually. So we normally create different IAM user groups and give them access and permission to connect and use specific services only, not everything. But here, just for this training part, we'll be going okay with root user. Okay, so now we are connected. You can see few recently visited services are here, which I just browsed through. View all the services. We can see all the services available over here. At this moment, we don't care about many things. We just care about EC2. So if you look at our slide, we are done with the first step. Now we are going to get the second step actually, EC2 VM with Linux OS. Go to EC2, and from here we can provision one VM for us for our work. One thing we need to understand that having a VM actually means lot many different things as well. Lot many components like networking, security, user group. Plenty of things are there actually, which you don't care in the beginning, because they are all set up by default from Amazon. But when you actually work in production kind of systems, that time you need to care about many things, and in fact, there's proper planning and design activity happens, where you actually design the complete network, VPC, subnet, different VMs which will reside, security group, and plenty of things are there actually which you care. However, when we do some quick learning like this or some POC setup, we can avoid lot many things over there, because those are all comes by default. So those we are gonna use those default things over here in this session. Moving forward, when we learn AWS in more details, then we'll go through each and everything over there. So all I try to say, like, don't get confused that this is really this much easy. In setting up one machine, it might become very complex when you actually work in real enterprise application environment actually. Okay. So what I do here now, I go to instances. There's nothing I can see. There's really nothing here actually. Just say launch instances. We need to give a name. So we'll just say Kafka. We need to select an image actually. So there are many images, these images are like what? Like they are like operating system with different softwares which are installed. There are many which are available. We can choose from them. So the one which you see here on the screen, Amazon, Linux, macOS, Ubuntu, RHEL, Windows, these are just like only the OS. There's no package, specific package which I install actually. So let us say I need Docker. So I need to take Ubuntu, which is Linux flavor, and then I have to go ahead and install everything. I can do that way. Docker is not really that hard, but I can avoid that also. I can go ahead and take another Ubuntu server which comes already handy with Docker install. So I'll try that thing for this particular session. So browse more AMIs. AMI are our images. Here, maybe I'll just search Docker. Okay. So there are many, Ubuntu based machines, AMI I see here, which comes with Docker. Maybe I'll go with something simpler one. Probably, you see, most of all of these are like the one where we have PyTorch and AIML deep learning kind of software packages installed. So probably I'll go with this one, deep learning based neuron AMI. I care about Docker at this moment actually. Okay, so I'll just select like this. It's already selected now. So what I have done till now is that I have just given a name to this machine, which AMI I had to select. I did that. This is where what kind of machine I want actually. There's a lot many machines which are available, which have different code, different RAM, different memory, storage, and everything actually. Everything comes with a cost, right? So if I take a bigger machine which have more core, more RAM, obviously the cost will be higher. For this particular session, probably I'll just leave up with free tier eligible. So if what it says that, if I take this machine, I don't have to pay any money actually. Okay. But let's say if I gonna choose something bigger one, let's say I choose this one, for every hour it's gonna charge me $3.8 actually, and this is big number actually. Maybe not big when you work in enterprises, but it is definitely big when we are learning it actually. Okay, and you have to be very very careful like what you select and all actually. It's quite by mistake you choose something which is very costly, and leave it running for 24 hours. Boom. Okay. So I'll just go with this one. So instance type is selected. I have chosen a machine which is free for me. Now, key pair login actually. Okay. So when I take this machine, I need to connect. Okay. So when I connect, I need a file which has got private public key kind of combination set actually. So I need to create a new one. If I already have it ready, maybe I can select that actually. So create a new one. Key pair name. Let's say just Kafka. RSA. There are two types actually. RSA and AD 25519. I'm fine with RSA. PEM or PPK. There's two types actually. It's clearly mentioned that you have to use PPK when you want to use with Putty, which is our window machine. OpenSSH. This I can use when I connect through macOS or Linux. If I take PEM file, that also I can use with Putty, but I have to convert it in PPK file. Okay, maybe someday I can show that to you also. Create a key pair. It's done and it's downloaded as well. I need that file for connecting to this VM, so I need to store that actually. Now we come to the network security group. Now we come to the network settings section. Now this thing also becomes very complex in real time actually, in real enterprise environment, because you have to think about access to this machine from multiple ends actually. What ports you want to expose, what subnets you want to expose, where this machine is setting, which subnet, from which all services will connect to. There's so many things actually which you have to care, and the proper designing happens actually, and those design sessions are like cumbersome. In this particular case, by default it's showing me like allow SSH traffic from anywhere actually. Now anywhere is not a great idea in the actual practice, but for now this is okay. So that means from anywhere, any machine I can connect here using SSH. So I choose this one. This is about the storage part actually. Okay, it says the free tier eligible customer can get up to 30 gigabyte of EBS. So 30 gigabyte of EBS or magnetic storage I can get. 35 is very less for our work. I'll just make it 100. That means I have to pay some charges for the extra gigabyte every month actually. Okay. So I think there are a lot many other details, advanced details and everything. I'll just skip that. It's not needed now. We can do, but I'll just we can do this. So for example, I can see a spot instance. If I choose this option, if I get a spot virtual machine now, that might be very cheaper actually. I'll just skip that one now because the possibility of getting this is limited. Launch instance. Now it's trying to launch that instance actually. You can see it is trying to set up and it's in pending status. You can keep refreshing like this to check whether this is done or not. I mean, you have to keep checking this instance state. This is pending now. It can be running when it is up. You can see it's running now actually. So this instance is now up. I'll just go inside like the details part. You can see everything over here. In case you have to change few things, you can edit all the details. Only one thing which you need to care at this moment is the public IP address. Okay, so this is the IP address using which you can connect to this machine from outside. For internal communication, this private IP address is used. Okay, so now we are done with the second part actually. EC2 VM with Linux install. In fact, Docker is also installed. So all these 3 points are installed actually. Okay, done. The fourth is now Putty. Okay. So I need to install Putty. Just quickly go to Google. Say Putty download. Go here. Download Putty. 64-bit. Almost all laptops these days are 64-bit only. There are very few 32. MSI file is downloaded. Just click over there, do next. Okay. I already had Putty earlier, so that's why it's asking me to repair actually. Okay. So Putty is right here, and I use this Putty to connect to this VM machine actually. Okay, virtual machine. The two things which I have to do, one is that put the IP address, which is right here. By clicking on this small icon, it's copied, paste it, and then give a name. Let's say Kafka. Save. This is one thing. The second thing which you have to do is that we have to load this Kafka PPK file also. Let me just place it somewhere at right place. Training Kafka. Maybe I'll keep it over here. Okay. So under this section, go to SSH, go to auth. From here, choose the private key file, and I need to go to that place. This file is right here, and when I go here, I have to save. Open. Accept. Okay, the password, login is Ubuntu by default. Ubuntu is the login, and I have used that key actually. Okay. So it's trying to authenticate using that key, and we are able to connect. So it didn't ask for any password. We didn't set any password actually. Okay. So whoever has got that key file, he or she will be able to connect to this machine. So we have to be very careful with these key files actually. Okay. So the practice is that when we generate that file, we can regenerate the file using Putty. That time we use a password as well. So you need a password, you need a key, and also here we connected using Ubuntu, which is a super user actually. So we can create different user with password, and using that you can connect. Okay, so PWD, this is the present working directory. ls none. Okay, so many things are here actually. Let's see if Docker is there or not. Okay, it's trying to do something. That means Docker is installed. Let's say Docker ps for listing all the containers, all the running containers actually. -a for all the containers. Docker images. So nothing is there actually, but Docker is installed. Let's say Docker version 20.10.20. So that means Docker is installed. Okay, and so now we can go ahead and then install our Kafka specific things or any other software we want to play with actually. So this is all we had to do in the setup section. What we have achieved here is that register AWS account. This is what we did. There were 5 different steps which were there for registering ourselves. It needed all my credit card information, my PAN, my home address, phone number, and then I was able to access. I got 12 months of free tier access actually. So a lot many services which are eligible for that free tier, I can use it without without spending any money. Then what we did connect to EC2 service. We took one machine which is Linux OS, which is Ubuntu, and then we choose the AMI, which is the image, which had Docker installed. We verified Docker is installed. We downloaded Putty using the PPK file which was generated, the key pair file, which is generated when we were doing the VM creation. Using that, we connected to this virtual machine and we verified things are there or not, like which is Docker is there or not. This is all we did in this setup task. In the next session, we will install Kafka, Confluent Kafka, and then we will work over there. Okay, thank you.